Welcome to USA Rugby Previews. Let's get into it, everyone. USA Rugby just dropped the starting roster for the Eagles, so let's get into it. First, some background. We're playing Georgia. They're ranked 12th in the world. They finished second in the Rugby Europe Championship, which is like the Tier 2 Six Nations competition they have going on in the winter when we play during the America's Rugby Championship window. During their autumn internationals, they did a tour of the Pacific Islands going 2-1 against Fiji, Samoa, and Tonga. So they're pretty good. All right, if you haven't had a chance to watch the Junior World Championships right now that are going on and being hosted by Georgia, so that's pretty awesome, right? Check them out because you see the standard for an up-and-coming Tier 2 U20 program. They are ridiculous. Some other things, if you didn't notice earlier in the week, our U20s men's JAAs lost to Canada. So check that out. The replay is on the replay is on Facebook, on the Rugby Canada Facebook, and then the second game in the series, qualification for the Junior World Trophies on Saturday. So let's get into it. Okay. Just going to read them off because I'll give my opinion in a minute. At 1 is Tony Purpura. At 2 is James Hilterbrand. At 3, Chris Bowman. At 4, Nate Brakely. 5, Ben Landry. At 6, Todd Clever. Todd Clever is captaining the squad today, on Saturday. At 7 is Tony Lamborn. 8 is Cam Dolan. 9 is Sean Davies. 10 is Will Magee. 11, Nate Augsburger. 12, AJ McGinty. 13, Bryce Campbell. 14, Matai Luta. 15, Mike Teo. At 16, we've got Peter Malcolm. 17, we've got Ben Tarr. 18, we've got Dino Waldron. At 19, we've got Matt Jensen. At 20, we've got Andrew Duratalo. 21, we've got Ben Sema. At 22, we've got Marcel Braish. 23, we've got Ryan Matias. As it comes to the substitutes, Matt Jensen played well last week. Marcel Braish played well in a starting role last week at outside center. Andrew Duratalo played pretty decently last week as well in mop-up duty. Let's see, was Dino Waldron? Dino Waldron was not active. I did not like Ben Tarr and Peter Malcolm on the field. The stat line shows that we won all of our scrums, and we also won a penalty. I have to point out that we lost ground on every single one of our scrums. We lost ground on every single one of their scrums. Our scrum did not look good until the second half when Joe Tofiti, James Hildebrand, and Paddy Ryan were up front. So that says a lot. I mean, 2 people that are inactive on this list are premiership level front rowers. Joe Tofiti is the best hooker on the Eagles. He's one of the 12 best hookers basically in the premiership because he's the starter for Worcester. Paddy Ryan is a premiership level prop at 3. So them not being active has me a little confused, but it also says to me that Mitch again is trying to go with a developmental squad, but save some of these guys so that we can just steamroll Canada. Because you look at this and you go, okay, I don't really understand. John Quill, who had a try last week, is not active. Nick Savetta, who had a try last week, is not active. Ryan Matias, who got earned the only try we earned because the other two were on blocks. He's not starting, so I'm really confused. Overall, I would say, I understand the need to, protect the brand, make sure we win those 2 qualifiers, but I really would have wanted to go into this thing with all cylinders firing, because who we're facing, yes, Georgia's tier 2, like us, but I want to point out that Georgia has 16 players playing professionally in France right now. They're scattered between Pro D2 and Top 14. This will be their second match without their longtime captain Gorgodes. I think I said that right. I'm not sure. Shurikads, who plays for Pro D2 Aurillac. He's a great player. Oh my gosh. Very young. Flanker. I think he... let me get that right. No. Very young outside center. 24 years old, captaining their squad. Says a lot. Okay? They have 2 guys playing in Aviva. They have 3 guys playing professionally in Russia, and 9 guys playing domestically in their player pool right now. We don't have that many guys playing in top division and second division rugby in Europe right now. We'll see what things shake out, with MLR coming up and how we look. But right now, I'm really, I don't know. James Hilterbrand looked great in the second half for the Eagles last week at hooker. Chris Bowman has basically anchored at 3 through the entire ARC and played well, I guess, in the first half, but Paddy Ryan definitely outclasses him. Tony Purpura, he and Bowman played a lot together during the ARC, so I wonder if that's like a partnership thing in the removal of Ben Tarr from the starting lineup, but I don't really understand that Ben Tarr not hanging out in the back. Peter Malcolm, I didn't really think performed that well at hooker against Ireland. Dino Waldron, didn't see him last week as far as the actives were concerned. Matt Jensen performed well in the second half as a young lock. Andrew DiRotalo played decent in the second half. You didn't really see much, right? Because we just got outclassed. Good to see Todd Clever out there. I think his leadership was definitely missed, and the intensity that he brings every match. I think we were just resting him up. So good to see him. Tony Lambourne played really well on the open side flanker position, and then Tamalao I think needed a rest, and Cam Dolan's healthy and he's ready to go at 8. Sean Davies replaces Nate Augsburger, who was moved to inside center. I thought Nate played okay at inside center, but if you saw the ARC a lot, they moved him out to the wing. I think he plays much better on the wing. I'm not sure what inside center will do. Maybe he might be good there, but he is vice captaining the squad, so obviously being on the field is important. Like I said, I think he's a better wing, so I don't really know as far as him being a center is concerned. When Sean Davies came in the second half, the tempo moved a lot faster. Everything just went smoother. So I think Sean Davies will probably sit in the scrum half role the rest of the way. Will Maggie replaces AJ McGinty at fly half, and Will played pretty well. during the ARC and then for Glendale. So I am good with that move, especially since AJ is still on the field. AJ moves to outside center, replacing Marcel Braish. And my questions of that is, you have premiership and super level guys not starting. So what are we going to do? I would have, to be honest, I would have sat Nate. Yeah, I would have sat Nate and had him on the bench, and Marcel Braish would have been at outside center. Bryce Campbell comes on, who was at wing at 13, and then Matai Luda, who was called up last week when Luke Hume was declared inactive due to a lower extremity injury, will start. If you don't know Matai Luda, he's played a lot in our sevens program. He's a stud, so it's good to see him starting on the 15s and contributing towards the national team. At fullback, we have Mike Teo. I don't really like this selection at all. And here's the reason. The stutter step, the Samoan step, whatever you want to call that, I don't really like it. I don't like the blind passes. It's just, he lost speed every time he tried to do the stutter step. He's not as fast as he should be, I think. I think he's been injured. I'm not sure. I know that you put on a lot of miles with sevens, but I think that he should be on the bench and coming in spot duty, you know. I don't think he played well at wing last week at all, and I don't think he should be on the field at fullback. I think Ben Sema has played well at fullback, and that should be good to go. But as far as overall this roster, I don't really like it. I would have had Patty Ryan and Joe Tofiti on the field up front and in person. And then so going further into Georgia, I have to say I like the Eagles in this, even with this interesting front row. They threw the kitchen sink at Canada. I watched the replay on Monday and Tuesday. Monday and Tuesday. I looked at it a second time, and Mark Anscombe, the coach of Canada, basically put out a B-side, which is basically what we put out against Ireland. Except the difference was we were playing Ireland. He was playing, another Tier 2 nation that they should try to beat. And this is where I wonder if Georgia's vulnerable or if Canada. I don't think Canada's gotten that better. So they scored on 2 penalty kicks and what I would say is a controversial try. Without any TMO, you don't know if that try was through the back of the try zone or not when it was called. So still, it was sort of their offense was really bad. Yes, I understand the conditions are concerned, but so you don't kick the ball. If you look at the Georgian talent, they're crazy better in comparison to where Canada is right now. So I think we've got a good shot against Georgia. I saw the line. It was like minus 163 on bets for Georgia. I would say I would actually handicap it probably at USA minus 3 or minus 5. If I would be really, really confident if Patty Ryan and Joe Tofiti were on the front row with James Hildebrand. Although, I mean, Tofiti really should be playing hooker and James Hildebrand should be backing him up, but we don't really have another world-class prop at 1. So that's where we come into those issues. In the flanks, Tony Lamborn and Todd Clever. Like I said, Todd just brings an intensity that no one else has. he's going to get his 74th cap, and he's the most cap player in the history of the United States. Tony acquitted himself really well. I thought he played great. We just didn't have the kind of possessions needed to use his skills more effectively. Nate Brakely played pretty well at 4, so he earns a start again. Nick Civetta earned some rest time, so Ben Landry will come in, and we'll get to see what he can do at 5. We really need to develop our locks. Locks and props are the currency of Northern Hemisphere rugby. So it's definitely the currency of American rugby. You need big boys right there. So, other than in the backfield, other than Mike Teo, I really like this selection. So there you have it. So, like I said, USA, I would say -3. So favored by a penalty kick. So go Eagles.